Week 3 of college football. And we're going to start to focus more on the SEC in this segment, but this is a fun one. Number 4, Alabama going to Wisconsin. This will be 11 a.m. on Fox. Bama is currently a 16-point favorite in this football game. Ted, I can only imagine how crazy this atmosphere at Camp Riddle is going to be. Wisconsin fans, that is a group of people that I don't think will have any issue getting lubricated for the early kick.
No, no. And, Alabama, they're off to a good start. I think expected for Alabama, and it's not like they've had trouble, but I mean, it's expected for them with a new coach, new system to not be roaring out of the gates, right, and look like the machine that they've been in years past. But they've looked good. Um, the thing is I don't. It rarely has Alabama played like true road game non-conference stuff. I mean, this is kind of a rarity for them. Most of them are like the neutral site deal and stuff like that. So they're going out of their territory to play Wisconsin. Going to be an awesome matchup. It's another like uniform game that's going to be really cool. Going to be a big time atmosphere. And let's be honest. Fickle is waiting for a big win to kind of, I mean, he hasn't blown anyone away so far with his tenure at Wisconsin. When he left Cincinnati and took that Wisconsin job, maybe it was a bit of surprise with how good he had that going. You know, it it's they're looking okay, but it hasn't like taken off yet. They haven't had like a roaring start to the season either, but they've handled their first 2 weeks opponent. They're going to be letting it all out against Alabama on Saturday, and I'm curious to see what they've got.
Their offense, that it continues to be the weakness of the football team.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone to a completely different philosophy offensively. Remember, they're running an offense rooted in the air raid at Wisconsin, and it has not been just hadn't been very explosive. It hasn't looked the way that I think they thought it was going to look. And now they've got Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback. And the thing that I think will determine this game is, can Wisconsin produce explosive plays in the passing game? I know when you think about Wisconsin offense, you always think about the rushing attack, but
Mm-hmm.
Bama's secondary continues to be leaky. I think when you look at their entire football team, the argument can be made that the secondary is the most vulnerable part of the football team.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin, Van Dyke, they've got to connect on some big plays in the passing game because Bama's secondary, they've just had some issues just cutting guys loose in the back end. And this is an Alabama team that was, I mean, it was 14-13 going into the fourth quarter against USF.
Yeah.
That final score is very misleading as to how close that football game was. And trust I don't trust Wisconsin's offense to score enough points to win the game, but if you're giving me 16 points,
Yeah.
it's awfully interesting. Like it doesn't take I don't think you have to go through some crazy scenario in your head where this is a 7-point game in the fourth quarter.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what you alluded to, I think is probably, what I expect the game plan for Wisconsin to be. Try and hit on some explosive plays, and they're going to have to be big time plays that you can score on. And I expect their defense to do pretty good against Alabama. I think they're still,
Milrow has not. I mean, these first couple games, he doesn't look like he became a polished passer in the offseason.
it's, if you were to, like, if you had your pick, Milrow would not be who you would pick to run DeBoer's offense. I mean, it's a pass centered offense, accuracy, pushing the ball down the field, high completion percentage. I mean, there's a lot of things to love about Milrow, but it's just. I mean, I think it will get there, but it's not a match made in heaven. At least it doesn't seem to be right now with his style and the offensive style that they're playing. So I do expect Wisconsin's defense to play well. If they can force a couple of turnovers, win the special teams battle, and find a way to create a handful of explosive plays on offense, you may find yourself in a one possession game in the fourth quarter. And if it's a one possession game in the fourth quarter, buddy, that place is going to be insane.
If they can just force a couple field goals,
Yeah.
I I don't know if they can score enough points to win, but if I had to bet on the game, I think I'd take the points just because that's more fun.
Yep.
It's also
Take
very possible that Alabama completely out athletes them and beats them by 35. Like that's also on the table.
100%. That 100%. That I mean, I I think a lot like a lot of people in college football, like the fans out there, I would just I'd like to see a good game where it's undecided going into the fourth quarter, where like I said, you got a possession or maybe you're down 10, something like that if you're Wisconsin, just to see how Alabama can answer the call on the road out of their region. Like this is, I mean, they typically don't travel this far for non-conference games.
Yeah, they did the home and home with Texas, which was awesome, but
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin's that's
It's
up
a,
there. That's up there
just a
north, man.
different, yeah, it's a different world.
We'll see. It should be a fun one. All right, on to the next game. Number 16 LSU travels to Columbia to take on the red hot South Carolina Gamecocks. 11 a.m. on ABC. LSU currently a 7-point road favorite. Speaking of wild environments,
Yes.
this place is going to be breathing fire after what South Carolina did to Kentucky and Lexington last week. And LSU it kind of feels like they're walking into a bit of a hornet's nest right here. But I think the key to the game is, can LSU run the football? I think one of the, I don't want to call it one of no, maybe it is one of the bigger surprises in college football through the first couple weeks is LSU's inability to run the rock with that offensive line. I think that's one of the most surprising things to me. And remember in the opener they struggled to run it efficiently against USC, and I know they lost John Emery with the ACL, but they couldn't they couldn't get Josh Williams or Caleb Jackson going against Nichols last week. So is all of a sudden it going to come together against that South Carolina defensive line that looks legit?
No, I don't think it is.
I
I
so
mean,
is it as simple as, hey, Garrett Nussmeyer, go win us the football game. Go sling that thing.
yeah, I I was personally surprised that LSU was a 7 point favorite in this game. I thought it was going to be way closer, maybe even a pick 'em. But I expected like LSU 2.5, something like that. Touchdown favorite, I think, is interesting. And I'm curious to see what you think. With the struggles of the offensive line the first two games, you know, it's starting to make me think, are they really as good as advertised, or did an insane Heisman Trophy winning quarterback make everything look good?
I think with what we've seen through two games, you have to lean towards, hey, Daniels was just incredible.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, and we were,
I mean, you are what you put on tape,
that's
and they
right.
can't get the run game going at all.
I watched the USC game at home with some friends and family. LSU ran a crack toss out on the perimeter, the big first round tackle, swinging out to the perimeter, gets his ass stoned by a safety. And I was like, hmm. I mean, and it wasn't out of nowhere. Like he came down, he like throttled down, was a little scared, and took one on the chin. And I was like, man, I did not expect that. So, not to put everything on one play, I just that's what kind of got me
Are
started with that thought process.
are you are are you saying that LSU's offensive line, they're on your fraud radar?
I smelled a little. I was like, huh, okay,
Just smells a little fraudulent to you?
something fishy going on there. And
We'll
then
monitor. We'll monitor the situation.
yeah, and we'll just it's worth monitoring. Ed, this is the week to monitor it, buddy, because South Carolina has a unit up front.
They made Brock Vandegrift's life absolutely miserable last week.
Yeah,
That dude did not have a chance. They embarrassed Kentucky's offensive line, and I I cannot wait to watch Dylan Stewart, who is the most ridiculous true freshman I can recall in quite some time. I cannot wait to watch him go against these tackles for LSU.
does
That
he have? He has. Does he have the best dip you've ever seen?
he's him and Miles Garrett,
Yeah, it's
who I played with in
crazy, man.
Cleveland. Like that's
I
I
mean,
mean,
he's 6'6" and he touches the ground with it, man. Nice.
I guess Von Miller. Von Miller's way up there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if Lenora Sellers has not blown me away as a passer,
Yeah.
but LSU secondary has been bad for a while now. So can they get some things going in the throw game? I cannot wait for this game. I'm with you, man. I was really surprised when I saw LSU as a full touchdown favorite in this game.
I and maybe it's a little there's a little bit of bias towards Beamer because I am rooting for South Carolina in this game.
We don't hide that. We have him on the podcast every single year. He's the best.
I I I mean, this is upset alert if I've ever seen one. Things are not looking good in LSU and South Carolina. I mean, I think they've found their personality as a football team. And I don't know what the fan base thought coming into the year, but there's going to be some energy in that stadium, buddy.
I I think that with what they've displayed defensively so far, especially along the defensive front, I mean, it looks like they could be one of the surprise teams in college football. If you are dominating the point of attack like they did against Kentucky, and it's not like Kentucky's got a bunch of slappies, man.
No,
That's if you control the line of scrimmage like that defensively, you give yourself a chance each and every week. Now,
can we
hey,
start
maybe
a?
Kyron Lacy just runs by him and he's got 200 yards
Yeah,
receiving and he scores 2 or 3 touchdowns. You go, okay, they couldn't cover that guy, but
right.
I don't know. I think this is going to be a great game, and I hope that I just want to be entertained. I hope it's a great game.
I want to start a GoFundMe
Ooh,
for Dylan Stewart with the goal of reaching $10 million. And the coaches don't have to like. I know you can't. I will I will start tampering myself. like that's the type of player. He is
I
incredible.
I have to imagine that they've already started, and he was a
Oh
really highly recruited guy, right? I think he
yeah,
was like the number one edge guy in his class. But I have to imagine they've just started building a wall around him,
yeah.
figuratively, maybe literally. But I have to imagine those negotiations are already taking place with this representation. Like you're not going anywhere. We will do whatever you ask because
His
he's a
dorm
game
room
changer,
is
man. He is. I mean, he looks like one of the best edge players, maybe the best edge player in college football, and he's what 18.
yeah. And I when I saw him in week one, I was like, oh man, like he looks great, young guy. Once he fills out, because he doesn't look. I mean, he looks tall and lean, but he's 250 pounds, 6'6", 250 as an 18-year-old. Crazy.
Must be nice.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, last game I want to hit. Number 24, Boston College. Look at Bill O'Brien already having Boston College in the top 25. Going to number 6, Missouri. Interesting kick time for this one. 11:45 a.m. on SEC Network. Missouri is currently a 17-point favorite. And the way that I see it, if Boston College is capable of dominating Florida State the way that they did, and I think we can all agree that Florida State is not the type of football team that we thought they were going to be this year so far. But if they can do that to Florida State, they're certainly capable of going on the road and making this one interesting against Missouri, right?
No doubt. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, in this is a chance to see. I expect Missouri to win. Now,
So do I.
how do they win, and do they look legitimately like the number 6 team in the country? I think is really my question, because Boston College they are an all-around solid football team. They run the ball well. They've got a tough physical back. They're good on the line of scrimmage. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. They do a really good job of playing to that. So, I mean, if Missouri can win this game by 3 touchdowns, I think that will be a very impressive win.
Going to be some entertaining quarterback play in this game.
Yeah. Cooks look
Castellanos
good.
for BC is fun. Brady Cook from Missouri, like both guys have great mobility. They'll take some chances pushing it down the field. Like it should be a lot of fun to watch both of those guys in this one. But for Boston College, you have to stick to the formula that I mean, they played Duquesne last week, but
Right.
when you look at how they dominated that Florida State game, they ran the absolute hell out of the ball,
Yes.
controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled the pace of the game. They had no turnovers.
Yes.
And I think they had one penalty in that game against Florida State.
That's the formula, buddy, for going
That's
on
the
the
formula.
road.
You go and do that again on the road, you're going to give yourself a great chance to win the football game. But if Castellanos goes out there and throws it to Mizzou a couple times, like they're going to lose. But if they can run the rock and control the clock and play clean football, this is going to be a 4-quarter game. But are they capable of doing that at Missouri? We'll see. I still wonder, like Missouri has not found their replacement for Cody Schrader, who was so
Yeah.
dynamic for them a year ago. And it seems like they're still searching at that running back position a little bit, but we'll see if this is the game where a guy kind of takes that position by the reins for the Tigers. I'm not sure, but I does anyone have Missouri on upset alert here?
Ah,
Does Boston College just not have the juice?
that's kind of where I'm at.
Like they just don't have the skill guys to.
Well, it's like it's hard to do it twice.
Yeah,
Like once you get on someone's radar, it can be very hard to win if you're outmatched twice. But I like I also I mean I like Missouri. I actually really like their offense. I mean, the design of their offense. But are they really the number 6 team in the country? Like that's kind of where I'm at with Missouri. And I'm not saying they're not, but I need to see them prove that. And a good solid win over like I said, there's what a 16 and a half point favorite. I think if you cover that spread, you win by 3 touchdowns. To me, that is a really impressive win. And I think that's what a number 6 team in the country would do to Boston College.
yeah. I'm interested, when we recap this game on Sunday, I'm interested in what we're going to be saying.
I know. I
I,
agree.
Anytime we talk about Missouri, though, we gotta get an update on one of my bold predictions before the season. Do you remember what it was?
Only because I see it in the rundown.
Deion Burks. Remember, my prediction was that Deion Burks would have more yards from scrimmage than Luther
Bold.
Burden.
Very bold.
Very bold. Burden, arguably the best player in college football. Burks only 103 yards through
Hmm.
2 games. Has not broken out. Luther Burden, 85 total yards from scrimmage through 2 games.
Okay. And this is the stack 'em up period too, for going out and having a 220-yard game, 3 touchdowns, something like that. Slow start, huh?
Low start for both. So we'll see. We'll see. But currently, I'm not looking as crazy as some people thought I was. How about that?
I like it.